David, thank you. I've talked to you a little bit about Baha'i faith and Baha'u'llah several years ago, but I just wanted to thank you for sharing your story, and I want to share something similar that I experienced. I lived in Spain 27 years ago, and I met a person who introduced me to the Baha'i faith, and I was amazed and overpowered by the idea, and I remember telling my parents about it too, and they're like, that is crazy. So I just think it's beautiful that you shared it again, and 27 years later, I'm thinking, I understand this path better now, and that this prophet is a modern day prophet, really, and I love to think about it like that, so thank you.
Thank you.
We have some neighbors in San Diego who are Baha'i, and
Okay.
I remember he's talking to us about persecution that Baha'is were experiencing. Could you speak to that?
Yes. The Baha'is, the Baha'i faith grew out of a culture that was very Orthodox Islamic, and one of the quotes about Muhammad is that he was the seal of the prophets, and Orthodox Muslims interpret that God isn't going to send anybody after Muhammad. They recognize that Jesus was a prophet, Moses was a prophet. They do accept that, but they said there can't be anybody else because he was the seal. Now, from point of view is what was being prophesied not only in Islam, but the religions that we're aware of, Judaism and others, is being fulfilled by Baha'u'llah coming in this time in history, fulfills the prophecy. So that's why we use the word, rather than prophet, manifestation of God, or divine educator, or divine teacher, because Baha'u'llah's coming is the beginning of the fulfillment of God's kingdom on earth. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We feel that we're just at the very beginning of this phase of our human and spiritual journey, and that there will be other manifestations. After 1,000 years, there'll be someone else to help push us in that direction, and it'll go on, forever. This process of God progressively revealing to us what we become capable of understanding. So did that help?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
I really appreciate this because I think I see a whole lot of overlap between what we do here and the Baha'i, in the sense that we're trying to acknowledge multiple paths to our divinity. And I think the way you described who Baha'u'llah was and how that was similar to who Muhammad was and Jesus was gave me an idea. Maybe they're all like meta-human. They're not just human, but they're, the fact is that it feels like Christianity and Islam have been at war over the idea that Islam asserts that Jesus wasn't God, just a prophet, and the idea that he was the final prophet seems to be a source of contention. And I really appreciate that there comes these special people that have a foot in both worlds, if you will, that can reveal to us the divinity and the divine plan. So I appreciate that, and it occurs to me that a lot of the religious conflicts that have happened is that somehow each one that's had this divine teacher among them has thought this is the special voice, this is the last voice, this is the only voice worth hearing, and that's where all the religious conflicts come. I really appreciate what you said about Baha'u'llah, realizing these were all special metahumans, and there will be more. You know, the clear distinction you just made is that unlike Islam, which said Muhammad's the last, Baha'u'llah's part of what could be a new wave, and it will continue to flow when we're ready to understand more. So I really appreciate how aligned that is with what we've been struggling with and searching for and searching among ourselves for. Thank you for bringing it to us.
You're welcome.
I'm reaching for you. I'm reaching for you.
Well, thank you. Yes. John? Okay. Thank you very much. And I did a little bit of reading up on Baha'i before when I heard that you were coming, and I had a question as you were saying. I mean, you didn't say anything about Christianity, but Christians, believe that Jesus is the one, the Son of God, and that's the end of the thing. And then you said the same thing with Muhammad. Oh, sorry. All right, with Muhammad. Just my voice is so loud. I don't know. All right, let's say it again. That Christians believe, that at least fundamental Christians believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and that's the end of everything in Revelation and all that stuff. And then we have the Muhammad and that you just described, and now you're talking about this gentleman. I can't say his name, but
Baha'u'llah.
okay. And my question to you is, do you think in 1,000 years, if another revelation comes to the earth, as you're speaking about, in a storefront in Harlem, would the Baha'i people be open to that? I mean, I'm not challenging. I'm not challenging here. Okay, I'm just asking because every religion that I know of seems to think that theirs has the end is the end revelation, and to me, revelation just keeps going on and on and on. And so I'm just asking, how do you feel, or don't you feel?
Well, it's hard to imagine 1,000 years from now, and if the Baha'i teachings have their desired effect, we will be almost like a different race of humanity, overcome our prejudices, overcome this national competition, have a global government, have a spiritually based lifestyle. But yet, every manifestation of God has encountered usually opposition from those who have a vested interest in a new revelation coming in. So, it's possible even in the future people will still have their egos and don't want a new divine teacher to upset their position in the world and society. And so there's bound to be opposition. I think it would be somehow different, but I don't know.
Well, we don't either, but that seems to be more of a human thing, even with doctors and scientists and everything, you have that same kind of a situation.
Okay, I think it's getting late. Is it a real quick comment?
It's a real quick question.
With a real quick answer?
I don't know. Is there a reason why there is 1,000 years between these
Divine teachers.
divine teachers? Right.
Yes or no?
I don't know.